Today I'm going to show you how to store images and icons in your library and use them in your projects. This can be quite useful in situations where a company uses the same logo in multiple softwares. In the case that the logo changes, you would have to change it only in your library. We're going to create two components. The first component will be our vault, where we will store all our icons. And the second component will be the component that uses that vault in order to show the icon or image. Let's start with the vault. Like in our previous examples, first we need to create our icon module. So I'm going to create a directory called icons. Inside of it, I'm going to create a QML directory. Okay, let's give it a name. And I'm just going to add the components that I mentioned. So first of all, we need the vault, and it's going to be a singleton. And the second one is going to be our icon component. So let's create these files now. As far as our QML directory goes, that's it. Our icon vault is going to provide access to the icons that we have already stored in our library. Now, in order to provide some paths, I would need some icons. So let's add some icons. I'm going to create a directory called media. Inside of it, I'm going to create another directory called SVG. I downloaded two SVGs. One is the Android and one is the Apple. Now let's provide a path to them. First of all, this shouldn't be an item. We can use a Qt object, because our component doesn't have any visual property. Now let's create a property that's going to provide the base path to our SVGs. Now let's provide the path to our SVG files. And that's it. That's how you create a vault. This can be extended to a bunch of icons, but I don't think for the example we need much more than two. Now let's go to our icon. Our icon will basically be a QML image with a few properties. I'm going to include the properties and then show you one by one why I introduced them. The first property will be our color. We will use it only if somebody chooses to change the color of the icon. The second property will be the source, but since image already has a property called source, we're going to call it path. I'm going to set the default fill mode to image preserve aspect bit. What this is going to do is just keep the aspect ratio to a normal rate. And now the source will be our path. Now I know some of you might be thinking, why just not use source right away? And that's because using our vault directly to the source doesn't work. So what we have to do is use this workaround, provide a path and then path to the source. Why? I don't know. If somebody has an answer, please let me know. So in order to use our colors, we need to use the layer. And the first property will be enabled. I don't want to enable the layer if the user doesn't want to change the color. So the enable property will be only true if the color is different from an empty string. And now to paint the icon, we're going to use the effect called color overlay. But in order to use color overlay, we need to import Qt graphic effects. And the color is going to be icon color. Okay, good. Now we have our icon component. Also pretty simple. Now let's use them. I'm going to remove the old code. Now to provide the path to our icon, we can use our icon vault. And as you can see, it already provides us with the icons that we have stored already. Let's use the Android one. Okay, so we have an issue. No pragma singleton found in icon vault. Let's change that and run it again. Okay, let's remove the layers so we get rid of the warning. And here we are, we have our Android icon. The nice thing about SVGs is that you can scale them infinitely. So if you would like to change the size of the icon, this is not the way. The actual way how to use height and width using icons or in general SVGs is using source height. So we're going to use source size, height 100. And now it's crystal clear. Because we provided our preserve aspect ratio, we don't need to provide the width. And it can also go the other way around. So if we provide the width and not the height, it's going to keep it the same. And I can scale it 500 and it's still going to be crystal clear. Whereas if I would use width and height, this would be terrible. So my recommendation, if you can, use SVGs. And that's it, nothing too complicated. In the next tutorial, we'll be doing something on a bigger scale. We'll be using the components that we created until now to make a chat app, so stay tuned.